The galaxy was full of light, life, and arrogance. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, thousands of alien delegates gathered beneath a dome of transparent crystal. Outside, entire nebulae glowed like stained glass, painting the council floor with drifting colors. At the center of it all, on a small glowing platform, floated a single human representative, Ambassador Elias Gray of Earth. His uniform was plain, his expression calm. Around him, laughter filled the air. The Varn Dominion, the Threxan Empire, and the Cole Collective all mocked him openly. "Humans," said High Commander Threxan, his scaled jaws curling into a grin, always so bold. "Yet your ships crawl like insects through space. You still use metal hulls. You still breathe air. How primitive!" Laughter echoed through the hall. Elias simply smiled. "We may be slow," he said quietly, "but we reach places others fear to look." The laughter grew louder. A Xylan scientist, her thin tendrils flickering with bioluminescent light, leaned forward. "Tell me, human, what will you do when the galaxy moves on without you? You have no quantum drives, no wormhole networks, no dimensional shields." Elias looked around the room. He saw creatures of every color and shape, some with wings, others with shimmering carapaces or floating bodies of gas. They were powerful, yes, but they were also comfortable. "Arrogant," he replied softly. "We'll learn. We always do." That was the last thing anyone heard from humanity. The vanishing of Earth. A year later, the Sol system disappeared. It was not destroyed. It simply vanished. No light, no gravity, no debris. The region where the sun once burned became a silent void. The space-time readings went blank. Probes sent to investigate vanished too, as if they had entered a hole in reality itself. The galaxy barely noticed. Humanity was small, a single species on the edge of known space. The great empires moved on, their wars and politics resuming as if nothing had happened. In taverns across the stars, jokes spread. "Did you hear about the humans? They finally turned off their own sun. Maybe they built a ship so small it fell through a crack in space." The laughter continued for decades. The first signs 50 years later. Something strange happened. In the outer rim of the Varn Dominion, a fleet of exploration vessels vanished. The last signal recorded was full of static, followed by a strange pattern of pulses. 5 short bursts, 2 long, old Earth's distress code, SOS. No one understood how it was possible. Humanity was gone. Earth no longer existed. The Varn Dominion sent a second fleet. It vanished too. The scientists of the Xylan Observatory began to study the readings. They found faint distortions, tiny folds in reality, like ripples made by something large moving through higher dimensions. They presented their findings to the Council. "These distortions match no known drive signature," the lead researcher said nervously. "They are not hyperspace rifts, not wormholes, not quantum tears. They look alive," High Commander Threxan scoffed. "Nonsense. This is a trick of your instruments. Maybe leftover radiation from your failed human pets." But the scientist looked pale. "No, Commander. These are not random. The energy pattern repeats every 72 hours. It forms a code." The council chamber grew quiet. "What code?" Threxan demanded. The scientist's tendrils dimmed to a soft blue. She whispered, "It says observation complete. Phase 2 begins." The fear begins. Soon, every corner of the galaxy reported strange anomalies. Stars flickered for a moment as if someone had blinked at cosmic scale. Communication beacons transmitted ghost signals written in ancient human languages, messages no one could decode. A cargo ship belonging to the Cole Collective claimed to have seen something in deep space. A massive shadow larger than any known vessel, moving through a region that should have been empty. The crew described it as a shimmer in the void, as if space itself bent around something invisible. When they tried to follow, their sensors failed. Their engines froze. The captain managed to send one last message before the transmission ended. "It's not a ship. It's a reflection. Something watching us from behind the fabric of space." The Council's panic within a month, fear replaced arrogance. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Delegates argued, shouted, and blamed one another. The once proud Threxan commander looked uneasy for the first time in his life. "This must be a weapon," one shouted. "Maybe a rogue AI," another argued. "Or a new race," said a third. But the Xylan scientist stood again. Her voice trembled. It's not a new race. It's the humans. The entire chamber went silent. Threxen slammed his clawed hand on the table. Impossible! Humanity is extinct. She projected a hologram, the room filled with glowing data streams. This is the pattern we've been detecting. It contains human DNA sequences encoded in quantum signatures. They've embedded their biology into the very fabric of reality. Murmurs filled the room. The scientist continued. They were experimenting with dimensional layering before they vanished. Their last transmissions from Earth mentioned something called Project Horizon. We believe they succeeded. Threxen leaned forward. Succeeded at what? She swallowed. At leaving this universe. The whisper in the void across the galaxy, more evidence appeared. In the Aryan sector, miners found ancient human satellites reappearing near black holes, still broadcasting after centuries. On the rim of the Avon Nebula, an old colony beacon turned on by itself and began transmitting a single message over and over. It said, "We see you." Fleets were sent to investigate, but each time ships vanished without a trace. No debris, no explosion, just gone. The galaxy's bravest warriors began to fear the dark, the shattered silence. Then it happened. At the edge of the Dravaran cluster, a massive energy surge erupted. The readings broke every known scale. Entire star systems trembled as a wave of gravity passed through them. From the void emerged a faint shimmer, like a curtain of light folding inward. Admiral Threxen watched from the bridge of his flagship. His crew froze as their instruments went wild. "Report," he barked. "Unknown distortion," shouted his science officer. "It's pulling us in. We can't hold orbit." The Admiral looked at the main screen. Something was forming out of the distortion. At first it looked like a storm, a swirl of light and shadow. Then slowly a shape began to emerge. A structure, metallic yet not. It shifted constantly as if made of reflections. The crew gasped. "It's a vessel," whispered one. "But it's changing. Every second the ship's form seemed to twist, flicker, and reform in impossible ways. It existed in multiple dimensions at once, half here, half somewhere else." The Admiral's scales turned pale. "Identify it." The computer stuttered, trying to read the impossible data. Then, finally, the words appeared on screen. Origin human. Classification unknown. The bridge fell silent. The message of transmission came through every frequency. Across every ship in the sector, in every language ever spoken, a human voice spoke. Calm, steady, familiar. To those who watched and laughed. To those who forgot us, we have returned. Every ship powered down. Every weapon failed. Even light itself seemed to bend around the colossal form now hanging in the void. The message continued. Do not be afraid. We left to learn what lies beyond your universe. You could not follow. You could not see. But now we return to watch what has become of our home. The voice faded. Admiral Threxen fell silent, staring into the shimmer. For the first time in his life, he felt small. He turned to his officers. Send word to the council. Tell them, he hesitated, his voice shaking. Tell them the humans are back. The shadow of the horizon as the ship drifted silently across the stars. Strange things began to happen. Warp lanes twisted. Communication arrays showed ghost images of the vessel even after it left a region. Planets long destroyed by war began to heal, their atmospheres stabilizing as if time itself reversed. The galaxy watched in awe and terror. Everyone who had mocked humanity now whispered their name with fear and respect. No one knew what the humans had become, or what the seventh dimension truly was. But they all understood one truth now. Humanity had never vanished. They had ascended. The galaxy was no longer laughing. Every news channel, every communication hub, and every council chamber spoke of one thing only: the return of humans. The mysterious ship that appeared from the folds of space had been seen by thousands of witnesses across several sectors. Some called it a ghost, others a god, and some whispered that it was not a ship at all, but a living entity born from another dimension. The aliens who once mocked humans now hid in silence, waiting for what would come next. The meeting of the council, in the great hall of the Galactic Council, fear ruled. Holographic faces of dozens of alien leaders flickered above the round chamber. The Varn Dominion's commander hissed angrily. We must destroy it before it destroys us. The Cole Collective's queen, Her face covered in shimmering membranes replied coldly, "And how will you destroy something that breaks our sensors? You cannot kill what you cannot even see." High Commander Threxen stood silently at the edge of the room. His once fearless eyes were dark and tired.
He had seen the human vessel himself.
He had heard that voice. He finally spoke. "You fools. You think weapons will help? That ship exists in more than one dimension. Our energy beams will only touch its shadow." The room went silent. A young alien scientist from the Xylan Observatory floated forward. "We have studied the readings," she said softly. "It is not just a ship, it is a city, maybe even an entire civilization folded into higher space." The council fell into chaos again. "Then what do they want?" shouted one. "Revenge?" asked another. "Perhaps," Threxen said, looking down. "Or perhaps something worse, justice." The return of the Horizon's End 3 days later. Space itself trembled. In the middle of the Dravaran cluster, the same place it first appeared, a storm of light began to twist once more. Every scanner, every telescope, every mind in the galaxy turned toward it. From the distortion, the human vessel emerged again, bigger now, clearer, as if it had chosen to reveal more of itself. Its surface shimmered with energy that shifted between shapes and materials, metal, crystal, light, and something like liquid shadow. The name appeared on its hull in every known language at once: the Horizon's End. Its presence shook the stars. Gravitational waves rolled across the cluster like thunder. Fleets from dozens of empires gathered in orbit, their ships forming defensive walls. But no attack came. The human ship was silent, watching. The first contact. Suddenly, a deep tone echoed across every communication channel in the galaxy. It was a sound beyond hearing, something that vibrated in the soul. Then came the voice. Calm, powerful, human. "To the children of the stars, we do not come as conquerors, we come as witnesses." Across the galaxy, millions listened. Even the most powerful rulers felt small. "Long ago, you laughed at our weakness. You called us slow, fragile, primitive. Yet we looked where you did not. We stepped beyond your dimensions. We found the places your science called impossible." The alien leaders trembled. The voice continued. "We left your galaxy to learn. We did not vanish. We ascended. Now we see what your wars and greed have done. You call yourselves advanced, but you still destroy what you do not understand. We watched, we waited, and now we return to teach." And then the transmission ended. For a moment, the entire galaxy was silent. Even the stars seemed to hold their breath. The panic, the alien empires did not know how to react. Some called for peace. Others prepared for war. The Varn Dominion launched its fleet toward the Horizon's End, believing that power could protect them. Hundreds of warships armed with plasma cannons and antimatter torpedoes surrounded the human vessel. "Fire!" the Varn commander shouted. Beams of light and explosions filled space. The human vessel did not move. The weapons simply vanished into nothing. Every energy burst was swallowed by invisible folds in reality. Then, without a sound, the entire Varn fleet stopped moving. From the Horizon's End, waves of glowing energy reached out, touching the alien ships like fingers of light. One by one, the Varn vessels began to disintegrate into motes of dust, their crews unharmed but teleported to the nearest planets. The human voice returned, calm but colder. "We told you, we do not destroy life, but we will remove those who bring war." The galaxy watched in shock. No one had ever seen such power used with such control. The message was clear: humanity could unmake armies without violence. The encounter, a council ship carrying High Commander Threxen and the Xylan scientist, was allowed to approach the Horizon's End. As they neared, their ship began to shake. Their instruments showed impossible readings, time moving forward and backward at once, gravity folding around itself. Threxen gripped the controls tightly. "If this kills us, remember, humans were once our equals." The ship was pulled gently toward a glowing portal. They found themselves inside a vast chamber. It stretched endlessly, filled with light and floating structures that defied logic. Humans walked among them, yet they were different. Their forms flickered slightly, as if they were half energy, half flesh. A tall human approached, his eyes calm and bright like distant stars. He smiled. "Welcome, friends." Threxen bowed his head. "You are human?" The man nodded. Yes, though we have changed. Time does not touch us as it once did. We live across 7 dimensions now. The Xylan scientist floated forward nervously. How did you do this? The human's expression softened. When we vanished, it was not death, it was discovery. We built a gate between realities. We stepped into what you would call the 7th dimension. We learned that matter, time, and thought are all the same when seen from above. We became explorers of existence itself. Threxen took a deep breath. And now? Why return? The man looked at the stars outside. Because the galaxy is dying. You have fought too long. Your wars poison worlds. Your greed breaks systems. We came to heal what you cannot. The demonstration before Threxen could reply, the human raised his hand. The walls of the chamber turned transparent, showing the galaxy outside. He pointed to a nearby star system, one that had been torn apart by ancient war. Its planets were blackened, lifeless, drifting ruins. Watch, he said. Light flowed from the horizon's end. The broken worlds began to glow. Atmospheres reformed. Oceans filled once again. Plants and clouds returned, spreading across continents in seconds. The Xylan scientist wept. You brought them back. The human nodded. We can rebuild, but only if you change. Threxen looked at him with awe. You have become gods. The man smiled sadly. No, just humans who refuse to stop learning. The message to the galaxy. The horizon's end sent one last transmission to every world. To all who listen, understand this. Power without wisdom destroys. Knowledge without humility blinds. We were mocked for our weakness. Yet our weakness became our strength because it made us curious. We sought to know, not to rule. Images filled the sky across thousands of worlds. Humans exploring dimensions beyond time, guiding streams of light, creating harmony between physics and consciousness. You think your empires are eternal. They are not. But understanding, true understanding, can outlive any sun. We have seen beyond life and death, and we wish the same peace for all of you. For a long moment, the galaxy listened in silence. No one dared to speak. The departure, then slowly, the horizon's end began to rise. Its light grew brighter, its shape less defined. Space bent around it, and stars seemed to ripple like water. Threxen watched from his ship as the massive vessel began to fade. Where are you going? He called. The human's voice echoed in his mind. To the next horizon. There are other galaxies, other worlds that still need to learn. We will return when you are ready. And with that, the ship disappeared into the folds of the 7th dimension, leaving only a faint shimmer of light in the darkness. The legacy centuries passed. No one saw the humans again, but their message remained. The Galactic Council disbanded its war fleets. Empires turned their weapons into tools. New science rose, based on what little could be learned from the dimensional traces left behind by the horizon's end. Every child across the stars was taught the same lesson. Never underestimate the curious. Never laugh at those who seek. And in the heart of the Xylan Observatory, the scientist who once met the humans kept a single hologram, a faint image of the human ship. Half visible, half dream. When asked what she saw that day, she always gave the same answer. They did not come to conquer. They came to remind us what we lost, the hunger to explore. As the centuries turned, deep in the silent void where the horizon's end once appeared, a new shimmer of light began to glow, gentle and patient as if waiting.